Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and Infinity and beyond, because we are here for the Lightyear review. Honestly, a review I never thought we'd be doing. I am the falling which with style, Travis Snell. I'm joined by.
I am the test pilot, Kirklin Patzer.
In the 4 years, Taylor Field.
Yeah, so it's interesting because obviously we talked about this years ago when they had that big banger Disney conference and they announced it there. But for me, as like a Toy Story fan, I'm just like a pig rolling shit right now that we got this little added bonus thing. But I'll save that for when we get to our non-spoilers. Taylor Field, where can they find us? We got, Kirkland and Dylan just did newscast store predictions. That was really good. Can't remember. There was one prediction I really wanted to fight you guys on. I'll have to think about newscast. There's one where you were so firm on it. I was like, really? So firm on this. But so you got that going on. We'll be doing a newscast a little bit later this week. Actually talking about this movie in the box office, talking about Game of Thrones and some other stuff. We got the finale for Obi-Wan. We got the third episode of Miss Marvel, and then Black Phone later on in the month. Honestly, I don't think there's much crossover with the Lightyear and Black Phone audience, but if you're just a film lover, we'll be doing it. Every pretty much big film we'll be reviewing here this summer. And Taylor, where can they find all that?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse on our Facebook.
Yes, and go down below. Every link is there that is important. The website, the social media, our podcast separate feeds, the podcast network, which has 7 days or 7 shows, 7 days a week right now. It's just popping off. Tons of things, Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, the whole shebang, or DC, the whole shebang. And then, most importantly for us, the Patreon, go over there and you get ad-free exclusive early episodes. I'll put out a public announcement for the patrons tomorrow, but After 9 returns July 25th at 10 a.m. PST. That is our call-in show. So if you like what we do here, you always want to jump on, have a good time, join the Madhouse. You can do that at the Phase 2 tier. Talk to us, other hosts, other patrons. We have a good time. We didn't do one last month, so I'm excited to catch up with everybody and then get exclusive episodes, early episodes. So ad-free, all good stuff. And the more you support us, the more content as you can create, as you've seen with this past month. So Taylor Field, what are your thoughts? As usual, for new listeners, we will do our non-spoiler thoughts. So in case you haven't seen our thoughts, should I go see this? We'll do a little break. We'll give you a warning, and then there will be spoilers. So Taylor Field, what did you think of Lightyear?
I thought it had a fantastic, strong start. I was really into it.
I
was really into it. I enjoyed it, and it was a good time. And then once we got to the middle, I just felt like it started to really slow down, and it slowed down to the point where I was just like really just feeling like, oh my goodness, like I was actually like struggling to try and like stay focused on it. And then once things started to really pick up, obviously, as we all know, and once that part happened and kicked into full gear, then I thought, okay, like I'm back in it now, like I'm riding this out, I'm enjoying it. And I don't know if that's really like a negative, but
sounds like you hate it.
Yeah,
too many kids in the
Worst
theater,
movie.
just couldn't handle it. Like,
Shut up!
Yeah. Stop talking in the movie.
There
Were you here for Toy Story 1? I was.
There were
I
parents
was.
reading off like the words, like the subtitles to kids and stuff. Like, shut up! Like,
Yeah.
but no, I just think
Pick up a fucking book, you nerd.
it got slow in the middle. But other than that, like I was super into like the beginning portion, the end portion, and just it was awesome. The animation was fantastic. I love getting to see the characters. I just think it was great. The humor of certain things actually that I thought was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, judging from the trailers. I actually just ate it all up when I watched the movie. Particularly one character's dialogue just really wrote me the right way. So yeah.
Kirk and Patzer.
So like, first of all, like I'm not by any means like the biggest Toy Story fan. I haven't even seen the newest one. I think I've only seen like the third one once.
I don't know why we even asked him to be here. Son of a bitch.
I watched all of them.
That's what an
Were you
asshole
there for the
are.
third one, Kirkland? Were you there?
I was actually. I saw that was the only one I've
Alright,
seen
the
in
phone.
theaters. But no, like I really liked the first one. Like the first two are definitely the ones I've seen the most, just because like at the time I had those on VHS and stuff, and they're just in the rotation of movies I had. And I think like the concept of this was just absolutely genius, especially like doing it now with just upgraded graphics and the CGI and like the possibilities of what they could do. I think it's absolutely amazing. One of like without getting too deep into it, there's one place that we used to go on vacation when I was younger, and they had like a video rental place, and we would go there like every year in January, and I would always rent the same movie. It would be like the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger one, like the one where he's actually a space ranger. I don't even know what it's called, but I
think it's
that.
Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. Yeah, and the movie's like the pilot episode.
Yeah, that's so funny. I feel like we
I don't know
about this actually.
Yeah, because I'm always pissed it's not on Disney Plus. Yeah, I don't understand why it's not there. Yeah.
And like I remember the box so like vividly. Like every time I'd go in there, it's just like that's the one I want. Yeah, it's so
like that
good.
3D reflective cover sort of deal.
Absolutely.
On the side, he'd go up and down and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, you know it. You know the one. Why were you laughing at me, by the way?
Quick sidebar. Similar thing at my cabin. There is a what the fuck? It's just so it's all right because there was a tweet, but I forgot there's a different Chris Evans. But it was like Chris Evans liked your tweet, and I was like, did I just tweet it like we're going live with Lightyear and he's fucking watching right now? I was like, man, listen, we love you.
In my headcanon, yeah.
So yeah, in my headcanon, that's Chris Evans. No, so we had the same thing where there's a video rental service, and we had this old VHS, and I was watching Ace Ventura: Pet Detective 2. It's like the Wild Calls or whatever, and I had like I have I do this quite a lot where if something's funny, people will probably already know this, I'll beat it into the ground and like I'll just think it's so funny till it's not. Whether it's the Penguin video, whether it's that Gordon Ramsay video at the Blind Lake, like I'll just keep watching. And I love to do repeat classic. Do you guys remember the A and B repeat option on the DVD?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was me. I'm the same thing with a song. If I like it, I'll listen to that banger like 20 times in a row, and then I'll be sick of it. But so with this, there's some funny scene in Ace Ventura,
When Nature Calls.
When Nature Calls. Thank you. I don't even remember what it is, but I just want to rewind and watch and have a good time again. And my mom told me, don't do this because the VHS, like it's very old. And I did that, and it got like it just ate that tape to shreds. And I just remember my mom just being mad the whole time that she's trying to like figure out how to like get this VHS out in one piece. We rented, and I'm sure like I should talk to my mom. It's like it's probably fucking $5. Like just give them 10 and like pay for it. Like it wasn't like a big deal, but I just remember it being such a big thing that I had to rewind, and I did, and I knew I was doing bad, and of course it fucked up because I think I did it one time and it was fine. So it's like, oh whatever, and then I did it again. And I'll hear like. And it's just like it's skipping, and I was, oh no. So I just got flashbacks too, and I don't think I ever got to rent a movie again because I couldn't be trusted with the VCR. And so the cheap bastard's not buying a new one, but you know. So
yeah, great story. I remember like my A and B repeat. I think I only had that on my DVD player, so you know you wouldn't run the risk of just destroying a VHS tape like that. But
that was used for two things. That was used for comedic things, or that was used if there was a very hot sex scene. Yeah, and you didn't have porn, and that's what you needed.
Tomb Raider 1. Oh yeah, that takes me back. Or Sharon. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, A and B made a lot of kids happy. I'm gonna say that right now. And whoever made it knew exactly what the fuck they were making it for. Because who else just watches things on repeat other than people trying to fucking masturbate? So.
That's funny. So yeah, no, like I thought like the concept was absolutely fantastic. I love how we were talking about that in a Buzz Lightyear review, but
I guess I should have clarified that. We should have been nicer in a kids review, but you know
There's the explicit tag is going on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They know what they're getting. So like the concept's absolutely fantastic. I think like the first shot of like just seeing it was great. Oh no, we're losing Travis. I'm gonna have to
just thinking of some kid turning in this review and we're talking about what we did with the A and B button.
Just beating off with the A and B repeat.
Oh, Annie's bum.
Kids have it easy these days. Okay, getting back to the review.
Mom, Dad, can you put on that Lightyear review from GeekVerse? I can't wait to listen to it. Yeah. Oh, that A&B just beating off.
NC-17 review. Yeah, Anna Armis just getting fucked by some Star Command leader and everything. I think we well established years ago we are not kid friendly. So
No, absolutely. I remember we tried in the early days. He used to bleep out swear words.
yeah,
and stuff.
I'm happy that
That's
this is
tough.
going now. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I thought it was great. Really didn't know like exactly what I was getting into for like the plot wise, other than just like Buzz Lightyear in space. I think I'm sold there. Like any further like trailer or anything, I did not need whatsoever. And I kind of went into this blind, and I was pretty surprised with just like the overall plot because again, I didn't know what to expect. I think I had like my own thoughts and preconceived notions of what I thought might be happening, but completely like 180 of my expectations. And oh no, I really love this movie. Honestly, I think it was a stellar just like act like portrayal of the Buzz Lightyear character, and I love the way it opens. Not a spoiler at all. It just says like 1995, a boy named Andy got a toy, like
Got a DVD player.
He got a DVD with A/B repeat.
Yeah, and he became a man and
is
scarred
that
all the
movie.
toys.
Oh god,
Yeah.
it's just like a porno basically. Oh god, what did this review become? We're only 10 minutes in.
Let's go.
So yeah, like I love the way it was just said, like this is that movie, and then like it was just really really good. And I'm excited to talk about some specific things with some characters. Fuck, I'm gonna have to kick Travis. He's making this hard. But all in all, yeah, I thought it was great. I thought Chris Evans was really, really good as the character. There you go. Travis going for a walk to cool down. So yeah,
I going to hook up his VHS player, getting the AB button ready. Oh, there he is. He's got his stuff.
What you laughing about?
You find your AV buttons over there? On
Yeah,
your VHS
I did.
Player?
Yeah. This is the same remote I
VHS player.
Yeah. I wonder if I still have it. I'm gonna need it for Blonde this September.
That's funny. Okay, I'll just take it away. We'll never get to the spoiler section at this pace. We don't even have Travis right now. He's looking for his toys.
So what I have is my Woody, like the not the AB Woody, the real Woody, and then Buzz Lightyear, just for other people, just to make sure he gets his wings can pop, everything like that.
Beauty.
He has some.
Buzz Lightyear reporting for sector duty.
Copyright.
Copyright.
Fuck,
Yeah,
we're
written
done.
right off the movie.
Oh, man who plays Fast and Furious on there. But anyway, so those I've talked about many times. Those are my replica that I both paid hundreds of dollars for. They're like
They're to scale, right?
They're to scale. They look like whatever they're supposed to look like in the movie in real world. That's what they look like. Toy Story is it's up there with Star Wars, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, things like wrestling. Like if you made my list of 5 like media loves, Toy Story is up there. We watch like when we do our Toy Story marathons, we watch every short, all of them. Like it's fantastic. My kids love it. I love them all. If you were to, I still think Lord of the Rings is the greatest trilogy of all time, but I think Toy Story is number 2. It's right behind that because, man, what a crescendo. And I know I see some debate. Yeah, but hang on. Okay. There's also Hobbits too, so you could say, "Oh, that's not a trilogy anymore."
No, I don't.
Yeah. So, just talking about the trilogy, those 3 movies compare against any. You could try to make a case against Lord of the Rings, so that's still the GOAT. For me, and the 4th one, I see the debate there. I still love the 4th one. It is the weakest of the bunch, but they did some different things, and go check out my review. I reviewed that years ago. But yeah, they're great films. I think they are the touchstone of Pixar and Disney as far as the tippy top and stuff. And maybe that has something to do with why the box office is lower because you're missing some of those gang members, right? But I love this movie franchise, and you guys know we did this on that cast years ago when they announced. I thought, man, what a perfect idea, because there's not a single fucking kid that didn't watch Toy Story 2 and didn't think, man, imagine if I could just get a whole movie that opening when he crashes down and then he's Zurg's base and he's after the battery and he's shooting everybody. He's like, man, could I get that fucking movie? Now, I don't know what's going to happen, because the good thing is we'll talk about news. Like Taylor, when I talked about that, sure, it's like lower than was expected, but it's still the biggest animation movie since the pandemic, since Frozen 2. So it's like, that's still a good sign. And also families have been watching movies at home recently mostly. So we'll talk about that. But for me, if I want more, but if we don't get any more, I was perfectly satisfied with this. I don't think this is top tier Pixar. I don't have in my top 10, but I still think it's like very good to great. Because I think Pixar, like, it's tough because their top 10 or top 5 is like S tier, like arguably best films ever made. You know, like Toy Story, Incredibles, Up for Me, Finding Nemo, like some of those first, like Soul. Like they've made movies where it's just like you could argue this is the film of a decade. So it's like when you're not in the top 10, that's not a bad thing because it's huge. Check it also in a few weeks. I'm not sure who will be on that, but I know me and Taylor for the bread and butter, we're doing a Patreon Pixar rankings. We're gonna rank all 26 films. I'm excited to actually put this in my rankings yet, but I think it's like mid-tier Pixar where it's very good, has some good messages, but it's more about the adventure and more about the world. I think visually looks great, stunning and stuff like that. And this is like what I wanted was that movie of, yeah, there's something's changed story-wise, but most of the time it is Lightyear being Buzz Lightyear. Now, of course, you have that in the Toy Story movies, but it's in this kind of comedical satire way, right? This is like, there's comedy in here, but it's taking it straight. Like, this is a space adventure. And the fact that this exists, it's just fucking crazy. And I'm so lucky. So that's why it's like, of course, I want to be greedy and want more and I want a fucking Woody Western movie. I want Woody's Roundup. Like, I want all that shit. But if this is it, I think I won't say knocked out of the park because I have like some things. I think I'm actually in line with Taylor where I think the middle kind of slumps a little bit because I think it's a lot of Buzz gets something, loses it. Buzz gets something, loses it. Buzz gets like, or it's like they find out something, they gotta get something more. They find out something, get something more. It's like a very repetitive loop of just going place to place. But I also don't mind that because I just like being in this world that they've set up, and I like the Lightyear character. Sure, it's not Tim Allen, but it is very much just like the toy Buzz when he's in Space Ranger mode. Like he has that, we talk about Inspirehead, like that naivety of just certain moments. He's kind of like a blockhead. There's times where he's kind of too prideful for his own good. So kind of it leads up with that. Again, like actual canon wise, what is the canon to a toy? I don't fucking care. Like it's not rocket science. I'm here to have a good time. And that's what I did. This is a movie too that I think it's going to be a really rewatchable one that I just want to put on and have a good time. And also I'll maybe put it on first before the Toy Stories because technically this is like the prequel to it, right? Because Andy sees this movie.
It's so funny that you said that because when we sat down, Shay's like, so is this like a sequel to Toy Story? I'm like, no, this is a completely different thing. She's like, so it's like a prequel. I'm like, no, it's completely like it's not because he's a toy. He's not a toy in this. So it's funny that you said that. I'll have to let her know that you also agree.
Yeah, and I think like for some plot points or like the looks, you could argue like they should have just made it what sound like the original pitch of like, oh, it's about the real Buzz Lightyear, but not the toy. But at the end of the day, again, I don't really care that much about the canon stuff and the changing. This is like I said, I hope we get more. I can see a bunch of ventures, but now if we don't, this is my version of the Toy Story 2 opening, and we got it here. I think the score is really good. Michael Giacchino's just having a great year. I think there's some good moments, some good visual moments. I was happy with it. It didn't blow me away as like I said, like a Soul or Toy Story 3, which I think is still easily, spoilers from my ranking, easily the greatest Pixar film ever made, just because like the themes it has. And I think what was good here is I think maybe this is where I was in line where the first half of the movie, the first act, I felt like had a lot more of those Pixar themes, like dealing with something bigger, where the back half of the movie definitely gets into like a space adventure movie, which I wanted from a Buzz movie. But I think if they had like a little bit more of that emotion throughout, it would have worked. They have a through line here. We'll talk in spoilers. I think it's so funny. There's just so many parallels between Chris Evans and this is Cap and Lightyear as far as with the actual plot. Almost too much to the point like you guys could have got another actor here because there's like almost similar plot beats from the Captain America movies happening here. But as Toy Story, like Die Hard, it gave me everything I wanted. So if it met my expectations, made me happy, that's good for me. So anything else to say non-spoilers?
Let's get into it.
All right, we're going to take our first break, and then we will be right back. We'll be back. I also didn't realize because I was going to have Kirklin do Spirehead, and then I got to edit this one. I did not save those ad breaks for Spirehead. Did you?
No, and you put them in the chat, and now they're gone forever.
That chat's gone. Yeah. I do remember it's like a 15 and
I remember 15 and a 35.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it after.
I could probably do that one. There's only 3, I think. I could figure it out.
No, there's only 2. So,
oh, really?
So check out our Spiderhead review. That's come up, because I got to add something in here. Breaking the fourth wall. There we go. So, where we want to start here with like
I actually have a spot that I do want to start. Yeah, let's start like with all things in the beginning. No, I was thinking about saying more of this in the non-spoilers, but I just wanted to get right into the spoilers. But it was maybe like the motive or I guess motivation for Buzz and like his pursuit of what he thinks is important, and then like the theme of the movie is just like people make mistakes, nobody's perfect, and then like just like you can't do it all on your own. Like I think that's something that from the beginning of the movie, like that they showed that this is his behavior, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's gonna happen in the movie. But I'm not expecting like a big mysterious plot to unravel in a movie like this. Like I think the way that it was told, it's like, hey, this is really simple. Like it's just gonna be he's kind of a prick in the early stages, and at the end he's gonna kind of find his family and like people that he can kind of rely on. And I think although that is like simplistic and easy to see, like I think the journey that they had for him was actually really good. And like every moment that he was kind of learning something about himself, or like learning to trust others, like I think all those moments were handled like sparingly. Like they weren't all in one spot. Like they spread them out well in the movie for me. So it actually really worked. And again, for something to be like so predictable but yet like I was still satisfied with, I think they did a really good job with that. Do you guys feel similar on that? Because like it was shown earlier in the film and being like, okay, I know what we're doing here.
Yeah, I think that's where it was very early. I think I wanted almost more of it in the end, because the end is obviously we'll talk about Zurg. Like we meet who that Zurg is, and then I just feel like it's very much like, nope, I'm not that guy. And he takes his package and he walks home. Where the beginning, it's like a lot of sitting with it, a lot of those videos of Hawthorne and seeing them age, and he's crying. And there's just like that one scene of he's just looking at the photograph, and they're just on it for 10 seconds. He's just staring at him. Like, man, we're getting like some really fucking emotional stuff here early on with Buzz. Like he's kind of a wreck. So I wish he was maybe a little more that way near the end, but he was so confident. But you could argue, hey, that's Buzz Lightyear. So I think it was good as far as it did its like it did its like not even satisfactory. It did it good its arc. It was a little predictable, but it made it good. The characters, as far as the interact with him, I thought he was the right level of kind of bullheaded or dickish at times. Not too much, but not too little. As far as because at times he's not wanting them to be on the mission, but it's not just because like I'm Buzz Lightyear, I'm the greatest. He just thinks that they also can't do it. They're not ready for this, so he's like being brave, trying to take it for himself. I love when he's 60, and there's a part of the plot when it's 62 years later. He's like, "We got to finish this mission." It's like, man, no one's gonna give a fuck that you finish this mission. It's been 62 years. Like all these people are dead, and like obviously they kind of make that point. I think there's a grander point there, but yeah. And what I want to say, my non-spoilers, which I'll say now before I forget, is it is so weird when we're doing like, oh, this is a movie of a movie for Annie, that we're literally watching a movie that's supposed to be like a movie set in a world, which I'm not disappointed, because I hope we get more of that. I hope one day those people in Tropic Thunder make that Robert Downey, Tobey Maguire Priest movie. Like I want all that. Like fucking, like we got that with what we got, Hobo with a Shotgun and stuff like that. Like
that's such a good movie.
Yeah, and that was just a trailer fake movie. Like I'm so down. Like we should do a podcast once of like top 10 fake movies we'd like to get a real movie of. But
that's a good idea.
It's just weird when we're talking about this plot of a movie that like in Andy's world they're talking about the same thing. But I wonder who directed it. And the guy who played Buzz must have got canceled because he didn't voice any of the toys, so he must have been up to some suspicious stuff in 1995. But no. I thought the emotion arc was good. It did its job, didn't stumble it like a movie we just talked about, maybe in another podcast feed, and I think it worked well. So,
so your initial question, because I feel like we kind of like sidetracked there. Your initial question was just how like the theme of the movie, like just how Buzz was kind of like having help and stuff, or
yeah, like for Buzz's like his kind of self journey of like just starting to trust people. Like
right.
Did that work for you? Was it a little be like, ugh, this is too simple, like I've seen this so many times before? Or was it like were you in on it? Were you like by the end of the movie you're like, oh, I really feel like Buzz is a better person now?
Well, I feel maybe they tackled it a little bit weird, because like when he comes back and it's like 60 something years later, and then he's embracing the team element, but once he sees like, oh, they're just a bunch of noobs, then he just kind of disregards them. I felt like this is kind of, it felt like maybe it was a little bit pushed, but I get like it speaks to kids, I guess. It lets the kids bluntly know, like, oh yeah, these guys, these are all noobs, they're losers, and then you have Buzz, who's like the professional, just trying to do everything. And at the end of the day, he's just trying not to get them killed, because they're not trained, they're not expertized professionals on what they're trying to do here. And Buzz is like the only pilot still alive at this time, I guess. So that's fair. And it was an okay enough of a dynamic, but it's not something I ever really thought was the case. Judging from the trailers, I thought we were going to get like, hey, this colony was destroyed, this is all that's left, and they're gonna rally together and like take on the enemy. So that's maybe like not a bad misdirect, because I do feel like the trailers, a lot of the representation I wasn't expecting in this movie, and I do enjoy that component, because there was lots of surprises. His mentality, and you touched upon this, Travis, when he is going like doing the mission again and again and again, and just those themes that we were hitting at the beginning were really powerful. And when he walks into the office for Hawthorne and like the desk is cleared out and it's cleaned out, I thought like, wow, this is like making me, I feel the feels right now. This is actually
like 20
really
minutes
sad.
in, too.
Yeah. We're already killing him off. But like, I did find it weird. Like every time Buzz would go to his room and just, he's like, oh, big party at Hawthorne's, and Buzz isn't going or something like that. Like he just stands in the doorway.
He's focused on the mission. Yeah, he felt like, I know she says he's his friend, but no, it felt like that she got married to that woman, and that woman's like, I don't really like Buzz. Like, I don't think you should hang around him. Like,
he says very racy things.
Yeah. He keeps talking about A and B features, and I don't think our kids should be hearing this stuff. Like, it felt like that, where this, like, what happened with Ben Affleck, Jennifer Gardner, and Kevin Smith, where Jennifer Gardner was like, yeah, don't hang around Kevin Smith anymore. Like, he's a fucking pothead. Like, that's what it felt like, where Buzz, like, yeah, you're his friend, but like, oh, like, she felt like so chummy with him when they were alone, but then when everyone was around, it's like, yeah, you could just watch her life from the outside. But I just took that as like Buzz is so focused on the mission, he doesn't want to get any distraction, so he could go over there and party, he could see somebody, but he just wants to get that sleep and wake up in the morning and fucking rock this because he made this mistake, which I like. And like, I love that they never, and that's the whole point in the end, I love that they never let him out of that he was arrogant, he didn't think he needed help, which is another theme in the movie. He needed help at the end. Good for kids, of course, and just actually in general life, because sometimes you do need the help. But he's pulling up, they say, oh, he needs no, I got this. He breaks that like start whatever. Do you guys remember the name of the thing that kept the energy core or whatnot? But I'm just gonna say where the fuel was.
I think it's just fuel cell or something.
The fuel
like
cell. Okay, so he breaks that, and that's what I love. They never let him off the hook of like, oh no, it was damaged before, or a villain did this. It's like, no, if he would have listened, maybe these people wouldn't have been screwed up. Now you get a great kind of back and forth where you go, okay, they did get screwed up and they're living this life they didn't think, but they also became a people here and lived a life, and she was still happy here. Like, of course, Hawthorne wanted to be a Star Commander or Space Ranger again, but she also had this life with a wife and a kid and like a grandchildren, and she seemed still like pretty happy. So obviously that's a whole different thing we'll talk about at the end, but I think they did I was happy that Buzz was the cause of it. Like, you always want your characters to be making the wrong choice. Why? Because it's the interesting choice. It's the most interesting choice when they're not perfect, or they're doing things where, okay, you got your Caps and Supermans and stuff like that, but you know, you want people to have these errors because you're kind of rooting for them to fix them, or you're rooting for them to change. And now you feel like at the end of this movie that Buzz wouldn't make that same mistake. You know, he would get help from somebody. We see that with Hawthorne's granddaughter. Same thing. She makes a mistake too, right? That she hears him wrongly and she's so excited she pulls that lever of like, oh, it's like he says almost ready. She's like ready, and she pulls it like it's like a, you know, like George Lucas says about Star Wars, it's poetry, it's a circle, right? And it comes back where he can teach that lesson to her granddaughter. So all that stuff really worked and everything. And I want to talk to you guys now, especially Kirklin, because you said you'd seen less of trailers. I remember when trailer 2 came out and everybody was pissed about they showed too much. They showed the time travel thing. And I feel like we even talked about this on the cast here, that we didn't want to see this, but we thought they were probably going to reveal it pretty early. And they did. It's like less than 10 minutes in the movie, and Buzz is going back. Like, he's going forward in time and stuff like that. So yeah, sure, it would have been a nice surprise. But I get why they did that, because you got to, when they were marketing the movie, and obviously people are going to talk about if they market enough now with the kind of, again, it's not a bomb. It's going to, between the opening weekend, it's going to have legs. It's going to make tons of like streaming and Disney Plus, and the toys alone, people are going to forever, like, it's going to be fun. It's going to make money. It's going to be a profitable movie. But with the marketing, you still have to show maybe something for the story. And I do get them showing, you know, that idea as far as the first act, the first 20 minutes is him going back and doing Planet of the Apes and stuff. So that's why for me, like, there's a bigger reveal that happens later on, which I'm happy they saved that. So, and I like the time stuff. Like I said, that stuff's been with me ever since fucking Planet of the Apes, where, you know, Charlton Heston goes to sleep and all of a sudden all his crew members are dead and the planet is run by fucking apes, you know, because you're just like, you don't know what could happen in those 2 to 4 years every time he's going up there, right? And obviously then one time he goes like, I think it was 20 years or something, stuff like that. So I liked all that aspect for the thematrical stuff of Buzz going through this stuff. And again, I think they showed good of it weighing on him. Like, man, like, he's just trying to get this mission. It's days for him, but he is not losing years technically of his life, but for the people he knew, they're just they're just gone in like a week or two. Like everyone he knew is dead and moved on, and that's why, like I said, I laugh when he's like, I got to finish this mission. It's like, man, no, this mission's still going on as failure. Even if you get the people off this rock, like you got them home. Actually, he probably didn't get most of those people home that he crashed with. You know, they're probably all gone. So.
Yeah, like what, like in regards to the plot, that was something like I definitely hadn't seen like that second trailer or whatever that showed a lot of that stuff. So I didn't know if we were going to be on Earth and then going to space, or like what was going to be going on. So we're on this first planet, and I was expecting us to be here for like 2 minutes and then like off into space again. But like this is where the entire movie takes place, you know, is on this planet. So I was pretty surprised about that when they crash land and they just kind of set up like shop, and you know, it's like a time lapse of them like just building up like a new base. Like I love that stuff. It was just very much like I feel like I'm seeing like a space like RTS. You know, they're just building up their base, and then it like you're just seeing it like in real time get built.
Watching pre-alpha build a Starfield right now.
Yeah, so like I love that stuff. It was really really cool for me. And then when he goes on that test and then he comes back, and it's been like 4 years later, and just very much took me like Interstellar, you know, when he goes on there for an hour and they come back, and like you getting all these video logs from like his daughter that's just aged now. Like it hits you like pretty hard. And like, was that revealed? I'm sorry if you were touched upon.
Yeah,
that
that
like,
was. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm glad I didn't see that, because I was pretty shocked. And then it was definitely emotional, especially with like more he was going on it. Like he was just losing time with these people that I guess there's only really one person that he cared a lot about, but you know, like she just lived like a full life in the time that he had just done these few tests. And that was like pretty shocking. And to like you brought up like when he goes into her office, and I knew it was coming. It was just but like still, as soon as he went in there in the empty office, I was definitely like borderline choking up. Like it was definitely emotional for a character that I hadn't even like known. Like I'd only seen her in the first like 20 minutes of this, and we like the whole movie was just with Buzz at this point, you know. So who wins in a Tars versus Sox 1v1?
Sox. Tars is the Inception or Interstellar, that robot that's like, yeah, I feel like Tars is pretty useless. Yeah, I feel like
he's cool movement, but yeah, no, he doesn't have all the tools that Sox
he's good
has.
for math too, Tars, but I feel like he was not as helpful as he could have been in Interstellar.
Who was Tars? I'm trying to.
He's the robot,
the
block
Rubik's
robot.
block dude. Yeah,
yeah. It was just like, you guys built all this shit, and this is the best we got for this robot for McConaughey to take up to space. You know, all right. So I'm taking Sox, and I'm not a cat guy. I fucking hate cats, so it's not because he's a cat. Yeah, they're scary.
That's what that was a big shocker for me. Is like I saw the cat on like the marketing material. I'm like, they're not gonna win me over on cats here. But fuck, I was pretty in on Sox. He was a fun character to follow. But
yeah, everyone loves him. My theater was howling. I liked it enough. I think that was for me probably the weakest part was the humor of this movie, which we'll get into later. And not that it was bad, just like I felt like I wasn't laughing for the times they wanted me to. But
fair enough.
My theater fucking loved Sox. My theater, I think, was like probably like 40% full. But yeah, Sox killed it. If he was a stand-up comedian, he's gonna fucking deal the next day, man.
Yeah, my theater was I didn't even go in like the extreme theater. I just went like the smaller one, 2D showing on 7:30 Saturday, and it was pretty full, and like a lot of kids in there. And I must say, like, you know, it's always like 50-50 with kids. Sometimes they're just like being a little shits and just farting next to you, like Taylor knows, and just being like really really annoying. And you know, they're kids, can't blame them that much. Travis is recreating the
fuck
the Taylor
ma'am,
PTSD.
Ma'am. And she just watching A&B on her phone. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Okay,
My husband hasn't touched me in years.
I got a story, but go after. Go, Kirklin.
Oh boy,
Okay,
I don't know where that
I'll
story
finish.
is. About
I'll
a woman not
finish.
being touched in years, and it's like, I got a story about that
It's
one.
got an A/B repeat story. No, but like my theater was mostly kids, and I will say they like made this enjoyable for me. Like just their like belly laughs, like actual genuine humor. Like when they have like the stealth kits, and then like he takes his helmet off, and then like Sox is just floating above. Man, there was a kid behind me just howling, and it was like infectious. It was just so like adorable to just have these kids just absolutely like in on the movie, and it actually made it really enjoyable to just like be in that environment, which is so funny because I feel like like anytime I'm like saying that, it's like a big Avengers moment, you know, and the whole theater is like in on it. But here I was in like the belly of the beast, just so many kids in this theater, but they were loving it. And yeah, they were laughing a lot more humor than I was, but still, it made it enjoyable.
Oh yeah, man. If you plan on having kids one day, there's like watching a movie for the first time, like Endgame, but then watching with your kids. It's so, like when we got to the end game stage, I've always made the comparison when I watched Spider-Man 3 with Gwen. I was like, oh my god, Venom's in this, and Spider-Man, and another Goblin.
That's
and
awesome.
to her, that was like the greatest shit ever. And it's like now I enjoy Spider-Man 3 because I have that memory of like, yeah, we talk about the way it is, but and same thing like Logan. I took Logan and Gwen. Obviously, Ellie's still too young, but same thing. Like when Buzz, like an explosion happens, she's like, where's Buzz? And just like that, like child, like in bewilderment of Logan was also pissed there was so many trailers. She was like, what? She literally said, what's going on? Where's Buzz? And she's just like a 2-year-old. But it was she, and I kept explaining to her, like, oh, we're gonna see some before. Gwen, who's old enough, knows this, but she's like pissed. Like, there's so much going on here. Like, I don't want to see these minions, so I'll just get to Buzz and everything. So yeah, watching with kids is good. But yeah, exactly. So let's take an ad break and then we'll Taylor's story. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So I'm writing down my phone because I'm not doing your private chat thing. That's what happens. You guys close the chat, I lose
You're the
them.
one
you know?
that did the private chat.
I know,
you're like
but I got
blaming
so
me
used
for this
because you guys have done it so much. I'm like, I should do it, and I'm planning Kirklin to edit this one, but no. But I got on my phone. But that's why I go Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. You got to worry about any of that. Phil, what was your story?
So we got there for the 6:30, and well, actually, we got there for 7:00, but our tickets were for 6:30, so I fucked that up.
How?
Again?
Why does this keep happening to you? What the
Yeah.
fuck's wrong with you?
Sir,
don't
these
know.
tickets were for yesterday.
This is for next week, sir. You can't see this.
We went out like for dinner, and then we went and we got there, and I was like, okay, 7:00, we're good, we got time. And I looked at the ticket. I'm like, fuck, I've been looking at my Thor tickets the whole time, which was for 7:00. So
Oh my god!
I go up to the guy. I'm like, okay, I see there's a showing for 7:00 though for Buzz, and my ticket, and I bought tickets for the 6:30. I'm like, well, we missed that by like 15 minutes. What can you do? Can you help me out here? He's like, oh yeah, we'll just swap them around to the 7. I'm like, perfect, okay. So that works, and we get good
separate seats,
yeah.
separated between you and some farting kids.
The way they showed like the map on the screen where we selected our seats, it made it look like we were on the left side of the row when you go in. So, okay, this is great. So we go into the theater, and I'm ahead of Madison, and I go to our row, and then I see like the left side. I'm like, fuck, these people are in our seats. Like there's these little kids and everything. I'm like, what the fuck are we gonna do here? So I'm looking at my ticket, I'm looking at the row, and I start going in, and I'm like,
Taylor from GeekVerse.
Get the fuck out of my seat.
He's just dropping F-bombs in the theater. Get you fucking loser kids out of my seat. I got a podcast about this movie.
I didn't know what to do. So the kids like legs, like they're just sticking out like this. And I just, okay, like I'm just going to cut in. So I just cut in and just start going like, excuse me. Cause I thought I'll just go in and see like, okay, gauge where my seats are. So we get in. And I'm like, fuck, like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm in, like, row H4 and H3, and this is, like, H14, H15 here. But the TV screen said that this was the left side. Completely fucked. So I just went and cut through all these people, and then we were at the very end on the other side. And Madison walked around, and she's just looking at me like, why'd you just be a dick and cut through those kids and stuff? You could have just walked around, but
Just a power move.
I'm a small business owner.
Were you there for Toy Story 1? Yeah, just start yelling at
Yeah. Were you there? Did you see the first one in 1995? No? Well, I did, fucker. And then his dad Biggs leads you. Were you there for Star Wars? I was there for...
Yeah, there you go.
Taylor, what were we talking about? I feel like we were talking about something that Taylor didn't give his opinion on, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
So
Socks? We're talking about socks. I fucking
talk about
love
whatever
socks.
socks, the humor, wherever you take it, Taylor. Where
Socks
we going
definitely sold me. Like, just his humor was just absolutely fantastic. I was jabbing with it, and just everything he was saying, like, and just out random moments, like, I bought you 5 minutes, and he's like, is that a contingency for me if I ever get out of line? Like, just that stuff was really just super quick and really, really funny. But yeah, no, I love that character a lot. But moving on from there, getting to the point where he comes back like into the future, and things were kind of like expanding and growing. I have to say, like, I like seeing the development side of like humanity from this little like turnip or whatever it was, the radish or whatever he was calling it. But
The turnip.
I don't know. They for being stranded, they definitely didn't appear to be like that badly stranded. They were doing
thriving.
pretty damn good.
They had food for fucking millennials. My God, they never ran out. You know.
Yeah, they were really living it up. So definitely not the worst thing. The one, this is actually something I have a problem with. When they first landed on the planet initially, and they had the rookie, and the rookie got wrapped by the Ryans and dragged underground, and they just fucking bailed and left. And just because story-wise, they just threw the rookie just conveniently at the base of the ship crawling towards them. But like, they totally fucking ditched that guy and left him to die initially.
Oh, yeah.
He just wouldn't keep up, you know. But Buzz went back to get him, though. They didn't.
Yeah,
need
because he
to.
was conveniently placed right there for him to grab, right?
Yeah, arguably
Because
shouldn't
initially,
have gone
like,
back.
he was pulled underground and was probably like
Yeah.
stripped for parts or whatever. But anyways, it's irrelevant now.
Trip for human.
He's dead
parts.
now, no matter what. So
Well, yeah, no matter what, it's gone by. Sad eyes, right? So you know, but
Mm-hmm.
that was that was like one of our first cool action moments where it's like, yeah, this is exactly what I fucking want. When Buzz jumps down, and then just his hand pops up, and Hawthorne throws him the sword, and then he starts like cutting away, like you hear, and then he brings them all. It's like, yeah, this is my fucking, this is my my Buzz Lightyear right here, you know, and. Yeah, so then they jump in the future, and then we meet the rookie team. You got Taika, who's like supposed to be kind of, I don't even know the
it was
tech
literally
guy, but-
Korg, like just human Korg. I
Well,
felt like
so it's funny. We were talking about that. We were watching Big Hero 6 because the Baymax show is coming out in like a couple weeks here, so we're doing a refresher on
yeah.
that. And obviously, like he got canceled high heaven, but I feel like Taika's become, which is weird why he's done this movie, but I feel like he's become the new TJ Miller, where it's like we need a funny guy that's good at improv, that's just gonna like work for everybody. And that was TJ Miller, where he was just popping up in everything, right? And I feel like Taika's become that between Thor, Free Guy, this. I feel like there's another one we're missing somewhere that he's done a voice for. And I like it. I said to Kirklin off air, I wonder why he does these things. Other than, okay, of course he's gonna paycheck and enjoyment, but like he's a acclaimed Academy Award winning like director, and he's directing all this stuff. And the fact that, yeah, I'm gonna go do this Toy Story movie. So I think that's the thing with Taika. It's not that I have a problem with it, but it's just that he's popping up in so much stuff that you just know exactly what it's gonna happen. And I liked his humor enough. I liked all the humor enough. I think all the humor was like at a 60-40 for me, where, and I know that probably sounds a lot lower. The good thing is that 40% was not like jokes where it's like, oh, this is really bad. It's like, okay, that's you got like a giggle out of me, or just not at all. But he was fine. The elderly, like you know, Bandit or whatever, who like stole vehicles, she had some fun moments. This is a nice little ragtag team. And I liked the granddaughter for Hawthorne, of like her just trying to live up to her idols and do all these things. And I did really like the switcheroo. I kind of figured this from the trailers, but when he meets them, they're all seeming like badasses. They're in the armor and they're just seeming like very cold into the mission. And when that first Zergbot comes down, and it just goes completely wrong, like the ship's getting shot, Taika can't shoot worth shit, the old lady's not doing anything. Like, I love that it was just went from such a high to like, oh, I'm doing this too.
the old
Completely falling
lady.
apart.
If you put glasses on her, it looks just like the person from Up, like the older chap. I feel like.
Yeah, like the man looks like Carl.
Yeah.
Maybe it's his
Same
sister.
character. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, even though like it's funny that Strange New World. Did you guys get that trailer before for that new Disney one?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought when I saw it trailer for first time, I thought it was like an Up spin-off of like that area, because it looked like that for
The
a bit.
animation looks very similar, like
Yeah.
the character design. Yeah.
But it's not.
I didn't
I
get
was
one
good.
for Strange New World. Interesting.
Oh.
I was gonna jump in and just comment on like Izzy, like that character. That was a big surprise for me, because I had seen like this individual in the trailers, but I always thought it was like the first Hawthorne that was shown at the beginning of the movie. So then when that happened, I'm like, she must come back or something. Like what's going on here? So then when she first appeared, I thought it was someone that just kind of like gone back in time or something, but no, it was actually her granddaughter, and that was a fun little spin for me. I really enjoyed it, because you see that's like the last call or message, like video message that you have from older Hawthorne is like with the granddaughter, and then sure enough you see her younger, and that was a really, really fun character. Actually, I liked how she just like loved being a space ranger, and like just wanted to like do her grandma proud, you know, and just fill those boots. And I liked how she wasn't just like a complete badass though. Like, she had a lot of flaws with her, but she was still just like super joyful, like really happy, and just a really, really great character to have in here. And the fact that she had like a phobia of space, I think that was such a great touch too.
Oh, yeah.
Just really like give her more layers. And I really, really liked her character in this.
I really like that scene where she had to jump off to get to their ship. I love like the shooting of that, like the animation cinematography
I thought
and stuff like
Socks
that.
was fucking done. That made me really, really panic.
Oh, really? I
actually.
never thought Socks was done. I'm like, no, they got to keep him around and stuff. And at that point too, I thought I was getting fucking not my buzz like hashtag because she's standing there and when she jumps, I'm like, oh, finally the wings are gonna come out and this is where she's gonna fly. And when they didn't, I was like, what the fuck's going on? And it took so long to it's like the last 10 minutes of the movie where Buzz like gets in that cockpit and gets the wings, but the whole time I was like, we're not getting the fucking wings. Like we're gonna see no one fly. Like I'm about to be pissed. Like how's this toy? And then you love at the end of the movie, like they make the suit look exactly like the toy. We're like, oh, this is why it would look like that. Like even the laser, I was like, okay, I like the story reason him getting it, but like, why the fuck does he not have his cool ass like actual suit laser? So I guess that changed my expectations too, because I didn't know it almost acted as like an origin story for Buzz Lightyear. It felt very much like Toy Story 1 to 4, even though it's a toy, is like the original Batman movies, and then this Lightyear movie was like Batman Begins, so it's like, oh, we're gonna show you how he got the Batarang. Like he's not gonna have it right away, but we're gonna show you all this stuff. So I'm interested now to watch it again with that perspective, because for a while it's like just little stuff. I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this laser. Like, why is it not on the suit? Just like fanboy stuff. But
Yeah,
I think that's good. I like that they had different colors. They're trying to. Before you show your true quality, I have to shout out this fact that I did not know. S-Bub's fun fact: the voice actor of Socks is the voice of Russell and Up. Did not know. It sounds a lot older now. Obviously, he's aged and everything. But yeah, didn't know. That's fun.
You go ahead, Kirklin. I saw you open your mouth before I put my hand up, so I want to hear. I want to hear what you got.
You seem like you had a quick thing to throw in. No, is it not quick, or are you?
It's longer than what you're gonna say.
Are you sure? Okay, I was gonna say I think it was a really, really smart decision for them to like have like the actual suit at the end, like his like his actual Space Ranger suit with like the actual ship that's actually like the box of the toy, because it totally makes sense. Like if you have this big moment at the end of the film when he gets like his Mark III or whatever, like like the newest version of what he's wearing, and then what's gonna happen for like the toys? It's gonna be that version. We've seen it with like Spider-Man in Infinity War. Like around that time, the Iron Spider, like that was like on all the marketing, and like his new suit, like that's what they market. So I loved how and even with the wings, how like you don't see them show up till the very end. That was really, really smart. And then on the newest versions of the suits, it's like the toy version. I thought that was really, really, really clever and smart, because it makes sense. It totally makes sense.
You talking about this ship?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the toy comes with the actual box. I did not, and look, it has the whole thing at the background too, the whole speech. Oh yeah, I kept that shit.
So yeah, I thought that was perfect, because it's very believable for this movie being set in like an artificial world of Toy Story, like it fit on the marketing of what that would be. So was that short enough for you, Taylor?
Oh yeah. I was gonna go touch upon Socks and a story component here. So
do it.
If Socks managed, he's obviously an AI, and he managed to come up with this whole the right components to create this hyperspace energy fuel or whatever it is. The device gets destroyed because Buzz falls on it, and they lose that. And so basically Buzz has to keep the single one that they created safe. That's the main plot of the story. Wouldn't an artificial intelligence that created it be able to immaculately reproduce that because they're an artificial intelligence?
I agree with that statement. I also have like a problem that's not the exact same issue, but another issue where, so at the end of the movie, like we're going to talk about the Zurg stuff, of course, but at the end of the movie when they're like, oh, whatever, we could arrest you, but we want you to start this new fleet and everything like that. And they're just going out to space. Now, the idea is for the Lightspeed is they just need to get out of this solar system, right? That's why they needed it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like at the end with them like having a colony and they're just like, we're just going to start a star command up here. It kind of made the whole hyperspace feel pointless at the end of the day. Like it just felt like it was a full MacGuffin. So like between that and like when he's like, you broke it, what are we going to do? I was like, oh, this is a very loose storyline.
The locust DNA thing.
Well, it is, because it's just like at the end, like he makes this big sacrifice to kill Zurg, and the guy's like, oh, that's fine. We're starting up our own unit down here. So it's like, fuck, you guys almost went on a suicide mission for nothing, really. Like
they've the new space command at the end, right? So they formed a whole new, or not a new space, they're the new space rangers at the end. So then they gave them like that's their new mission, is to like kind of carry on what they're already doing of taking.
I know,
this
but
new...
But again, like that's where it's just like Buzz's whole like that's where it feels so selfish. Where like Buzz's whole story is like, I gotta get us to hyperspace so we can get back, but everyone's like moved on from that. So that's why it's like his story and the story of the hyperspace feels kind of pointless at the end of the day. Even him achieving the goal, which is funny. At the beginning of this movie is like identical to Top Gun of him like testing speeds and like we can hold on a little longer. So that was my only thing. Like when they get back to base, it's like, yeah, whatever, you had a good adventure, but we're doing something else now. And it just kind of felt, I won't say completely pointless because he had a character arc, but the actual MacGuffin in the movie, much like Taylor Locust, is of they spent this whole movie trying to get back, and no, Biosyn is outed to be this. It's been 3 weeks, people. You know, so they just like we have proof that the bad guys are bad. Then at the end of the movie, the entire world knows the bad guys are bad. Oh, because Laura Dern? No, it's the same thing like this. Like I feel like they didn't. I don't know. It was. I wish that played a bigger role at the end of the movie, other than the emotional journey. You know.
I think my pushback to that would be like when his plan was to get them off that rock, like they didn't know it was going to be that long, and then when it just started going that long, it's just like, okay, well, like that's kind of plan, like that's like a secondary plan now, you know, like the whole.
It's like they're just appeasing him, like, oh, Lightyear's doing his thing because he has to like figure his shit out.
And it is like pretty sad though, because everybody on the planet got to live like a full life, like made a whole family. Like if he just moved on and was with them, like he probably could have done that. But maybe it's also like they're there because of him, so he couldn't just live that way. Like he has to find a solution. So for me, I was kind of just able to accept it in that sense. But you guys brought up a lot of good points, because by the end it doesn't make like it is pretty meaningless, and especially with how it ends. But it only occurred that way because they failed so many times. Like the percentage chance was like, I don't know, it wasn't zero, so there was some chance that it would have worked earlier. But you have good points.
It's again like him failing all the time too. Like it led to he was the how am I trying to say this? When Zurg was going to come no matter what. So his failures, I guess that counts for something. All his failures led to, like, he was the only one that could deal with this,
Thanos,
I guess.
You're starting to sound like
Where'd your failures bring you?
Back to Buzz.
Back to Buzz.
Oh shit, what was I gonna say? I completely forgot. I was being nice. I was like, oh, I'm gonna let Taylor go because he has to say something. But Family Guy says, if this movie was the one that Andy saw, why did no one make a Hawthorne toy? Toy makers and Toy Story universe are racist. Well, I don't know. In 2015, they also made Monopoly Force Awakens did not include Ray. So I think that like
did they really?
Yeah, they added it in after, but you can look. They didn't. Yeah, they didn't include the main character of the fucking movie because So. And like what, we're still in a world where Star Wars and Lucasfilm put up posters like, hey, make sure Rose and Finn aren't on this fucking poster in international markets. You know, like it is a fun thing to joke about because it's like, one, this movie looked fucking great for the animation in 1995, and two, they had some very forward-looking, like they had a lesbian kiss in the movie, which is great. But in 1995, like they're living a whole different universe over there. My goodness, you know.
I would attribute that, Clay, to like we didn't know there was Jesse and like all those other characters in that first Toy Story. I don't even think Woody knew that until like the second one. He's like, oh wow, like he sees the show and he learns that. So maybe that's the same for Buzz. They could introduce like Toy Story 5. Here's Hawthorne, and Buzz like, oh wow, here you are.
They literally could, and I hope that would be something that happened, but like not exactly like Woody, just saying they could incorporate some toys like this. But it just reminds me of like Turbo Man and Booster, where Turbo Man is this hot commodity toy, but it's like Booster, no one wants Booster. So it's like I could believe in the height of Buzz Lightyear.
No one wants Hawthorne.
No one wants Booster. No one wants Hawthorne or any of them. So I could believe in this height of Buzz Lightyear that all the kids just want Buzz. You want the main character, right? And stuff. And especially this is the same movie. It's like, yeah, these characters are great, but they're not the main character, not Buzz Lightyear.
You go to like Al's Toy Barn, and there's no Hawthorne figures. It's literally just a whole wall of just the Buzz figures. That's
Hawthorne would begin that sequel then,
Yeah, for sure.
But let's see. Director confirmed canonically that Socks was more popular toy, but it was sold out, and that's why Andy got Buzz. That doesn't make no sense.
That's very weird. Buzz was clearly not sold out in Toy Story 2.
Well, no, you say canonically that Socks was the more popular toy, but it was sold out, and that's why Andy got Buzz. But I feel like I don't know. Directors are fucking weird when they start commenting on other people's films that had nothing to do. Because, like, so you're telling me that every kid wanted socks. So Andy got Buzz for his birthday, even though that's the only thing he fucking wanted was Buzz Lightyear. Like, that was the smoking gun present. He's like, fucking Buzz Lightyear. And he changes his whole room around. And the thing is, like, he never gets a socks toy.
He was planning on having socks as
Yeah,
bed sheets and everything.
Clay could see it though.
Well, Clay and the director, they can kiss my fucking ass because like that's such a like I don't believe that at all. Like I don't believe that in the world that they set up in Toy Story 1 is what I'm saying. Sure, in our day and age that could happen, but like if you're looking thematically at like it's the hot toy, even in whatever it is, like Stinky Pete in Toy Story 2 is like everyone wants a fucking Space Ranger toy. They don't say everyone wants a fucking cat space toy. You know, like the idea is Buzz Lightyear is the main event and stuff like that. So hopefully he's kind of joking around. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But that director's wrong, man. I'm sorry. You're just flat wrong. I'm so mad when we were talking about the Hawthorne energy stuff that I completely forgot what I was gonna say. I shouldn't have let Taylor go and been nice and stuff like that. But
It'll probably come back to you.
I bet it won't. It'll come back to me tomorrow.
Hawthorne energy stuff, like what with the energy, like fuel,
everything like that. But it's gone. We're not gonna focus on it. It's gone somewhere else. But they do that. Yeah, they bring him back. I think it was something more about like how Buzz is just on this like solo mission and everything like that. But yeah, and then they send him up. He's making his. Oh, got it. Fuck yeah. So you know what sucks with it's fine that it happened because like whatever, it's a TV show, movie, or whatnot. But imagine like you look at the annals of history and you look at Lightyear and like sure they've become a community, but like his screw up is gonna go down as like that like marooned all these people on this planet for like a lifetime, you know? That's some fucking heavy shit. That's like the way you would think about Lightyear is like, no, he's clean, like he's Captain America, he has all the achievements, but this is like I feel like a big like a big bad like red on your ledger bad record thing to happen, you know, like not good. I feel like you wouldn't get
Not
that classic he would have to do lots of things in the future and maybe in the sequels to really get his name back up there as top shit, because this is a big screw up, you know. This is like Iron Man creating Ultron sort of stuff, you know.
Especially when they learn that you are actually the guy that killed so many people on this base as the villain, like
100%,
you
right?
maroon them and then you're the alien villain.
Yeah.
Well, let's take an ad break and then let's talk about that because we have not talked about the big bad booty daddy Zurg. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So also we knew Zurg was going to be in this. I think it was like one trailer kind of a teaser hinted him, but the trailer we really saw him and I was happy. You needed him, especially at one time when I thought he wouldn't be in here. I'm like, oh, you need Zurg. I love it. I like the look. Obviously, it doesn't look like the toy, so you kind of go like, why does the toy look like this? But then you just have fun with it and you go, again, it's just a fucking movie. Toys were cheaper back then. Why does he have a cape in this? I don't know. But as we saw at the end of this movie, we don't know when these toys were made. Those could be sequels. I hope Zurg does get a fucking cape. So this is where we knew something was happening. I think they played with it very smartly for the hardcore fans. The kids don't give a fuck. In the Toy Story 2, you know, canon, Zurg, you know, it's the Darth Vader Luke thing. Zurg is Buzz's father, right? So when Zurg, and you have these robots that's going Zurg. So the whole time Zurg ever interacts with him, it's like just wanting to find Buzz, or he's like, you need to come with me. Like, you know, something's up here. And I loved, like I said, I'm unsure about like the change. It works for the story, but I love that. So they kidnap Buzz. He's at the, you know, the space station, everything like that, and then the cockpit, the machine starts to open like Iron Man, and it's an older looking Buzz, and I love the Buzz is like, Dad, and they're like playing with it. He's like, oh, not exactly, but they reveal that, you know, classic again. You have Chris Evans, who's played Captain America and Buzz in this movie, where they're a man at a time, they've lost a bunch of time, and now he's interacting with a different version of himself, and he says not today constantly. You know, that I know Buzz said that first in the 90s, but Captain America kicks Loki in the face, says not today in Avengers, because I fucking love that scene. So the cockpit opens. He says, not exactly. It's Buzz from a different time period, different dimension, who's made these mistakes, but he feels like he could fix it all if he goes back in time. But our Buzz Lightyear argument is, well, if you fix it all, sure, you're fixing it for you and I selfishly, but what about these people that have family, life, my new friends? And that's where the conflict is. So, Kirklin, what do you think about Zurg's use overall? And then obviously the big reveal that it was a different Buzz. It was a variant Buzz.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was like something different, definitely from like just what was exposed in the first. Is he in all Toy Stories or just the first?
2 and 3?
Second one, right? Oh, he's in the third.
In third, he's in the end credit when they go to Sunnyside. and he's
Oh,
one of the
okay.
toys that gets brought there.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I love his
But
usage
nice
in
sunny
number
side,
2.
nice sunny side,
Nice sunny side.
groovy sunny side is what Ken calls it. So
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, I thought it was interesting, and like the way that they just keep hiding him. Like initially, I was expecting something different, and like when you actually see the full thing of him, I think I was kind of surprised to have him looking so similar to the first. So then when it was revealed that there was actually someone like in the suit, it's like, okay, here we go. Here's the difference. And um, I feel like I could go back and forth because part of me still wants to see like that Darth Vader Zerg that's
Yeah.
like out there. You know, like
Just
the
a
actual.
robot.
Yeah,
Well, and
exactly.
that's what Family Guy says. The real Zerg is still out there. I don't actually think so. I think this is it. I think if they bring back
Just
Zerg, it'll
Buzz.
be old Buzz again. Yeah, I don't think they'll
Yeah.
do like the Star Command show where it was just like the evil Emperor Zerg. I wouldn't mind that, but I think it would be this Buzz again.
Yeah, and like I said, I go back and forth because part of me still like it does still want that Zerg, like actual Zerg out there somewhere, but it's also really fun to just have like yourself as like this villain, like a variant of yourself in this suit. Like that's just really cool to me. It's an interesting concept. So I like both on a different day, I guess. But for this movie, it really worked because it gave us that big twist at the end. Especially it tied to the plot of what was already going on. Like he hit hyper speed and then it just things happened. And like I love to when Buzz initially agrees to help like Bad Buzz, and then he's talking about like, oh, what about these things? Let's like they're gonna be missed. He's like, no, they're not even gonna remember it. He's like, what about Izzy? He's like, who's Izzy? And then it's just like quickly
Yeah.
revealed like how different their universes is. I love too how like Buzz almost saw like right there just the difference between them two, and it's just like, hold on, I don't think this is a really good idea. I really loved all that stuff. So. And which I wouldn't have gotten if we didn't get that second Buzz. So I really liked it for this movie, but yeah, part of me still kind of wants a different Zerg out there.
Well, and what I'll say on that is like I've talked about this many podcasts. Me and Kirklin talked about this recently with Everything Ever All at Once. Where anytime for me, play with those what if scenarios. That's like tingling the berries for me, because it's a good conversation of like, yeah, you go back in time, but then you have to kind of live with your mistakes and learn with them, right? Because if you think about, oh yeah, what if we could fix it all, but then you lose all this stuff. Like there's a chance Hawthorne doesn't meet who we would propose is probably the love of her life, right? Because they stay together, they create a family. So what if they never meet? Is her life even lesser? If yeah, she's back at a space ranger, but does she not find the right person? Do they not fall in love? Like all these sort of things. So that's where it's like kind of the I don't like the everything happens for a reason sentiment in life, but it's the butterfly effect of, okay, sure, you could have this good thing happen to you, but maybe you lose another good thing, or things in my life where it's like, yeah, I've made that mistake, but you know what, I'm not going to make that mistake again because I learned from that. Where if I don't learn from it and I go back in the past, maybe I'll make that mistake again in like an even worse situation. So I love all that shit when you're just kind of dealing with time travel and the what if isms and where you're gonna go. And I think Buzz, like, I think that scene, I like it. I think it could be a little longer because Buzz, the good Buzz, right away, like, nope, not doing that, and he walks away. He does have like a moment, but I feel like he's just, you and I aren't the same person, and he just walks away thinking like there's gonna be like no conflict whatsoever, even though like he's on this fucking ship that has all these things. But again, Buzz is a little overconfident, so it happens. But Taylor, what do you think about Zurg and the reveal of who Zurg was?
I thought it was a fun dynamic. It was getting into the variant time travel kind of thing, and I like that. I think they tackle it in a good way where I think kids can kind of keep up to it too, and it's not super hard to understand. So again, I thought, okay, we're gonna come to this kind of crossroads, a fork in the road where their belief, I guess, is going to break apart. Like they're all in cahoots right now, and it's cool, and they're happy, but yeah, something's gonna give. And just again, seeing Zurg again for the most part on screen was very cool. They kept him very mysterious leading into it, which was cool. You didn't really get to see him in the armor, it was all smoky and stuff, but you knew he was coming, and he was just a very terrifying force to reckon with. And so when he started to really pop off, it was really cool to see him in just this suit of armor just going to town. And yeah, old Buzz's motivations were yeah, I understand where they're coming from, but there were certain emotional things that they threw in there that I really liked. When it's like, oh, but like he's called Hawthorne by her first name, and I can't remember what what he said or what her first name was, like Lily or something like that, or Lilith, isn't it? But he said like, oh yeah, what she won't exist, and then old Buzz is like, I don't even know who that is. Like, I don't even know who you are. Or
Izzy.
whatever, you know,
That's what
Izzy.
I said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
He wasn't listening to you, Kirklin.
Yeah, that's fair.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, those moments were great. It was very, very powerful stuff. So yeah.
What else? What else do you guys want to shout out and everything like that? I will say, people are talking in the chat. I thought the post-credit scenes were all fine, but not needed because Taylor had said this, but it wasn't Taylor's fault too. Someone else was like, "Oh yeah, hints towards a sequel," and it's like, yeah, and like the most minute way of like Zurg, like you could take out the end credit, and I could probably still believe that Zurg is alive just because like that's that type of villain. But
It's funny that you say that because I didn't even see the end credit scene, and when we were driving away, I'm like, oh yeah, there's gonna be a sequel. Like it has it painted all over it. I did, luckily, those Polygon articles, they just like describe the entire credit scene, so I at least have them in my head. Even the funny ones, it's like, okay, I can picture these really.
They were nothing. I when we no one else stayed in the theater, and because they're having so many showings at the Grand 10, they were like cleaning up the theater real quick, like, oh, we gotta stay. And when we got to the end, I was like, fuck, we didn't need to stay for any of these. Like, it was cool to see, but
the third scene that should have been the first one that popped up, and the other two funny ones should have been last. In my opinion.
They want you to stay at the very end,
Well, yeah, Madison said that because we were in the theater and there was one other guy at the back, but when the cleaning crew came in to clean up, they were just standing in the back. Madison said she could hear them whispering, like, "Are you serious right now?" Like just for me and her saying to the very end, because they had to clean up our row and
you
stuff
turn
like
and be
that.
like, "Fuck yeah!" And then you dump your popcorn all over the place and like your drink.
Just
I cleaned up
drop
the whole
trowel,
aisle for them.
stops pissing everywhere. Yeah, hey, and we're gonna sit in this seat. I don't think so. Shit finger and all, just touching chairs.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought they were just kind of, even the funny ones were not really that funny to me. I was like, all right, I don't know why these need to be like, you don't need to be Marvel now, but
the robot was good, but like, yeah, the one guy saying like, yeah, laser shields, like that's not fucking funny.
The robot, I thought was same. Like, I don't think it was not funny. It's just like, okay, it's there, it's fine. But yeah, anything. Oh, well, I guess the last thing I'll add is like my note is the big sandwich scene. Definitely.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I've tried maybe like once in my life, but definitely want to try it again. But I also think when they're like, why did you guys do bread or bread, meat and bread? But it's just like, because like you're looking at their sandwiches, all those toppings and fillings could just drop at any fucking moment with this slimy like meat holding together. So it's like you need those two pieces of bread to like really like keep it as a conclosure,
Like I love too, because like all those reasons that you're stating for like why you'd have two bread, like I just love their reasoning for it. It's like, yeah, like slimy fingers, that's the best part.
Yeah,
it's just so like counter to like
too dry with two pieces of bread.
Yeah, like that joke definitely worked for me. And there was quite a few moments honestly where like I was actually like laughing, like not just like smiling, like actually like an audible laugh. And I think it was probably just the energy of the theater, because like I said, all those kids were eating up all the comedy. Travis and probably more of your lines, like 60, probably more like 70-30. Honestly, it really worked for me. Like majority of all the sock stuff was really good for me. And like I said, I'm not a cat guy, so like for that to really win me over, especially when it was like even the cat like humor of them like acting like a cat, like that actually worked for me. And yeah,
were you alone or were you with Shay?
I was with Shay in this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
He rented a whole theater by himself.
Just sitting next to a bunch of
these kids.
looking at them like, yeah, you enjoying this theater? I can A/B repeat it for you. So yeah, no, like the humor was really good. And you mentioned like the spacewalk scene with Izzy. I love doing socks. Just like, don't look up, don't look down. He's like, actually, yeah, no, just I'll stop talking
forward.
now. Like again, it worked for me for whatever reason. So comedy was a thumbs up. And I think another note I'll throw out there is I really just love the showcasing of the suits and like what they could do, whether it was the stealth tech or like the surrender button. It just like turns into like a giant raspberry. I thought that was hilarious. Because I don't know why, but like when they had those red buttons, I knew that he had it like in the movie, like the Toy Story version, but I couldn't remember if it was like a pull or not. And then when he gets like the big suit, it makes sense that it's the wings, but I just couldn't remember what it was. And I'm like, I don't remember being like a drawstring, like a surrender button. But it makes sense. It's an old version of the suit. But yeah, all the suit stuff was really good. And just them being like space rangers. Like there's a couple of moments when I think they're going on their mission and he like is packing like a rifle and like just showcasing some different like weaponry and their armory, like their like lightning or their lightsaber basically, like weapons to cut through the jungle, like all that gear stuff. That was really really fun for me, and all the different ships, the different versions. I love how he had different suits on like all of his missions. Like he would have a blue suit, and then like it would just be like different colors and stuff. Really really great like attention to detail on all that stuff, which again Pixar is just phenomenal at, but I really really liked it in this one, and I think it's a big factor on why I loved it so much, because I love sci-fi stuff, I love space, and this was fantastic. So
It's a good foundation for a game. So you were to have just playing
I
as
was
Buzz
thinking that
Lightyear,
too.
hop on
Yeah.
your ship and just travel planet to planet, put on different
4
suits
players,
and stuff.
like the 4 space
exactly.
rangers. Like,
There's,
yeah.
But then when
there's
you get it,
potential
you
here.
you can only do 2 players with another 2 players on the system.
Yeah.
Like
It's a
strikers.
battle league. It's a battle league.
Yeah, Space
20
League,
people.
Star Command League. Yeah. No, I think I had that feeling when I was watching this. Like, I think in Starfield, when I get it, I'm just gonna make my character fucking Buzz Lightyear. I'm not even gonna front. I think I'm gonna do that. So, anything to shout out? Lastly,
I like the score a lot. Like again, music was having me pumped up, and yeah. Aside from a lot of the sentimental, emotional moments in this movie, it just was filled with a lot of really cool action sequences. I really enjoyed just seeing Buzz doing what he does and flying around, jumping around, fighting, combat. Everything was super cool, and yeah, it's a movie I definitely want to watch again. And I'm curious how I will feel watching Toy Story now that I've actually watched this, because I feel like no matter what, retrospectively watching this movie, it's going to somehow add so much more weight to just the dynamic and the drama that you have when you watch Toy Story 1 and Buzz comes in the picture with Woody. I just think it's going to be very cool and invigorating actually watching this story now that you have the weight behind what Andy felt when he watched this movie. So I'm looking forward to that experience.
and the weight of this toy letting down dozens of people, just letting them die on the ship. I don't think it's gonna change my experience much at all, to be honest. Like, I think that it'll be fun some stuff, but just because Buzz like diverts after the first one, then you got 3 films of him not being that Buzz Lightyear, so but you can see why he takes so serious,
Yeah.
I just remembered, like right at the beginning when he first lands on that planet. I think someone in the chat, maybe it's S Bubs or Fanboy Clay, mentioned like the line where he's like, there appears to be no intelligent life on there. But like when he also like jumps down, he's like the planet appears to be like spongy. I swear it's the exact same moment, like when he's on the bed and he's doing like the exact same motion. And it just
It
seems
is,
like the
yeah.
exact
He's
same one.
moving
Yeah,
like
okay.
that. Yeah, he does a
I
lot. Like,
figured.
not today, Zerg. That's a big line. Him saying blast a lot.
Yeah.
There's
So
another one
all-
in there. So there's tons of those.
All of that stuff, I was eating it up. And again, I'm not the biggest Toy Story fan, so I'm sure a lot like went over my head. But the ones I caught on to, it was nice. It made me smile.
Which makes sense, because if you got a toy, you'd pick the popular lines from the movie, right? So
Yeah,
that's right
exactly.
there. So there, Phil, give us your rating out of 10.
I don't know why this popped in my head, but I'd love to have him have lines. Like Kirklin, like this planet's not round, it's fucked. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, great callback.
As far as the rating goes,
Just on the fucking Buzz Lightyear toy. That must have been a
Planet's
recall.
fucked.
They recalled that.
that's
toy.
definitely a recalled one. Yeah.
One stuck through.
But I would probably give this movie a good 8 out of 10. It's not perfect. I got some cons with it, like Socks not being able to redo the hyperspace travel component because he's AI, and just like more of the slower component in the middle of the movie. But overall, like, it's still flying colors. I enjoyed it. I was very much involved with what was going on and the dilemma, and just seeing these familiar characters and Zurg popping off. It was pretty cool, and yeah, it had good nostalgic callbacks to Toy Story and what we're familiar with, and I think it's just a great addition to this universe, and it got me really really excited watching it. So I'm definitely game to watch it again, and I do recommend it. I think it was a fun time in theaters because it's visually a gorgeous movie. Like, the animation was fantastic, the setting, even though we were confined to this one planet for the movie, I think just traveling around in space, going into the different areas of the base, the spaceship, everything like that, like, it was just really really cool to see all the different tones to it and the textures and the design that went into this movie. So I definitely recommend people go see it.
Kirk and Patzer.
Yeah, I absolutely love this movie. I highly recommend it to, especially if you're a fan of Toy Story, but like even just I feel like it's a rare thing to find someone that hasn't seen Toy Story or anything like that. So I'd probably just recommend it to everyone. And yeah, hopefully I get more. I thought like the animation was stellar. All the characters that were introduced were really, really fun. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna give this one a 10 out of 10. I thought this was a fantastic
Oh
movie.
my
Yeah,
God.
The big one.
like there was some minor things that when you guys brought up, it's like, okay, I can definitely see that. But overall, it was just such an enjoyable time, and like I'm so excited to rewatch this. And yeah, no, I thought it was fantastic. So 10 out of 10 movie for me.
I'm like somewhere kind of in between you guys. I'm like at 8.5. I've gone back and forth because at one point I thought like a 9, then I went a little lower, and then I thought like an 8, but I thought, it might be too low. So I think this one, my final score is really going to settle when I rewatch it again. Because like I said, there's little things like it kind of acting more as an origin story, stuff like that. See if some of those jokes hit me more later on, or kind of more jokes hit less. Same as the story beats. But overall, it would never dip below an 8. I don't think I got a pretty good feeling on that. It's not like some movies where you go, I don't know, it could be this. No, it's kind of in that range. But no, I think like Taylor said, just another good addition to the Toy Story world. I hope we keep getting more additions to that, because if you don't want to do Toy Story 5, this is a good way to do it, whether it's Lightyear or Woody or whatever else you want to crack up. But no, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's everything I want. Be not a perfect movie, but Pixar's just always doing a great job. So I enjoyed my time with it. Very happy this exists, and this is a movie that I'll be gonna watch countless times in my life, and I'm just happy it exists, that I'm there, and I'm happy it's good. Like I expected that from Pixar, but still, you never know. You get your cars every once in a while. So, or actually, fuck, you have Finding Dory and Incredibles too. We've seen in the past few years they can really drop the fucking ball. So, thank God they didn't here. So. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for Lightyear. We'll be back in a couple days with other side quests going on, newscasts, good reviews. So thank you very much for tuning in. Let us know on the YouTube, Discord, Facebook, Twitter, everything what you thought about this, anything you want to point out that we missed, or just general thoughts on the review. Thank you very much for tuning in. When you hear from us next, it'll not be boring. To infinity and beyond.
Did we plan this or something?
No, we didn't. I